Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Songwriting Simplified with me, Jonny Lipsham, here at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk as I squirm around in my seat trying to get myself a wee bit more comfortable. And yes, I've gone for the kind of Union flag Fender t-shirt tonight, just because it was the t-shirt that came to hand when I was getting changed. So it is what it is. Anyway, don't start that sentence again. I hope everybody is doing well and has had a great first half of your week. Thank you very much to everybody for all of the great questions that we had on Sunday. Actually, we had a really good show. I was very pleased, and it went really well. And you guys asked some absolute bangers of questions. So thank you very much for that. So those of you that weren't here for the Sunday Night Live show, go watch the replay, because actually I think it was really good, and it's well worth watching again if you weren't here on Sunday night. But here we are on Wednesday, and I would love to take your questions around songwriting. Funnily enough, given that the title of the show is Songwriting Simplified, but we'll also include any questions you have on composing, arranging, and music theory and stuff like that. So we can talk using any of the features in Studio One to accomplish your songwriting goals. So for example, we can talk about using the arranger track. We can talk about using scratch pads. We can talk about using Notion. We can talk about music theory. So I know that we have kind of talked about modes a little bit. And we talked about the most common modes, which are the modes of the major scale. So we talked about, Ionian, Dorian, and all those other ones. Mixolydian, Lydian, and all of the other ones that are in the major scale. But there are a bunch of other modes that are based around the harmonic minor scale and the melodic minor scale. And also a scale that is known as the jazz minor scale, which is essentially, it's the melodic minor scale, but it's only the ascending version. See, the thing with the melodic minor scale that's a little confusing is that when you're going up, so you're ascending, it has one particular format. But when you're descending, going down the scale, it has a different format altogether. So it's a little bit interesting. But the jazz minor scale is actually quite a simple one. Essentially what you do is you take a major scale, just a regular major scale, but you flatten the third. And so you end up with an interesting and very useful scale. So yeah, we can talk about those kind of things if you'd like to talk about that. And we can talk about some of the modes of the melodic minor and harmonic minor scale as well. It's a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more advanced. So if advanced is not your bag, that's okay. We don't have to talk about it, but I will direct you actually in the direction of some articles that I never cite from, because normally as a university professor, I would never, ever accept a paper that has quotes from a Wikipedia article. Because Wikipedia can be edited by anybody, so it's largely regarded in academic circles as not a reliable source. However, the article that I will refer to, if you want to learn more about the melodic minor scale and all of its related modes and stuff like that, I'm going to point you in the direction of a particular Wikipedia article that I have had a look at, and I've had a very careful study through it to check it for accuracy and make sure that it's actually giving you good information. And actually, for once, it is. So, this is the exception to the rule that I normally set my undergraduate and postgraduate students. Never cite from Wikipedia. Ever. And if you do, you get an automatic F and you have to resit the paper. And ordinarily that's the standard I set for Wikipedia. But in this particular case, not going to do that because this is actually really pretty good, pretty comprehensive, and it's got some audio examples as well as some notation, which I think is going to be very helpful. But like I said, the modes of the major scale and the modes of the minor scale are a bit different, and they are a little bit complicated. But if you want to learn more about scales that can be used in jazz improvisation, or even if you're not into jazz improvisation, you're not a jazz player at all, these scales can be really beneficial to you in a whole bunch of different styles. They might not fit into styles like folk and bluegrass because they won't work, but these will work if you are writing classical, if you are writing, you could probably even squeeze these into pop music. I know Michael Brecker, the late great Michael Brecker, the great tenor sax player, he's mostly known for his jazz work, but he also made a big name for himself on the East and West Coast as a session musician, and he played on a whole bunch of pop records. He played on a lot of Paul Simon records. He played on Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms record. If you want to listen to him playing in a pop setting, he does the most beautiful job, along with his brother Randy, on the Dire Straits song Your Latest Trick from the Brothers in Arms album. It's a fantastic song. It's brilliantly written by Mark Knopfler, but the playing by Randy Brecker and also by Mike Brecker and his solo at the end of the song is just musical magic. If you want to hear somebody spontaneously composing melody, not just playing chops and weird scales and fast notes, which is what you'd mostly associate with jazz improvisation, but he's improvising in a pop context, so it's a little bit more composed, but it's not written out. He's improvising it, but he keeps it super simple, but it's really, really effective what he does, how he develops the melodies. It's just amazing. So that is something I recommend you go and listen to after this show. And check out the story, actually, the narrative of the lyrics, because they're really, really good. Mark Knopfler is a fantastic narrative style lyrics writer. And the songs off the Brothers in Arms record they're all exceptional. I don't think there's a weak song on that whole record. It's really, really great. But yes. So here is the article. I'm going to drop a link to it. Let me just copy that there. And I'm going to paste it here. So you guys can go and peruse that source. It's got a whole bunch of information, not just on the modes of the minor scale. It's got some bebop stuff there as well. And it's also got things on diminished scale, whole tone scale, pentatonic scales, blues scale, and the variations thereof, because there are several variations of the blues scale. There's the 6-note scale that most people are most familiar with the flatted third and the flat 5. But then you also get the 9-note version, which also has the enclosures, the chromatic enclosures around the flat third and the flat 5. So you get 1, you get 2, you get flat 3, natural 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, natural 7, and of course the octave. So that is more of a 9-note blues scale. And actually that's the one that gets more used in jazz than the 6-note blues scale that is most commonly associated with kind of Chicago blues and that kind of thing. That eventually became kind of the formation of Chicago blues and influenced great guitar players like Eric Clapton and the formation of what we would call contemporary rock music, really. So yeah, go check out that article because I think it is very, very useful. Let's go see who's here. Billy Morgan was first in the door, as per usual. We've got 18 people in here. We've got Christina here as well. Although by now, I rather suspect she's probably in bed because it's 1:15 in the morning for her. But thank you very much for dropping by. We got Tony Stringer. We got Daryl Harrison. We got Jay here as well. We got Stephen Wilson. We got the Key Man, my good friend Ron. We've got Cal Traduziak. We got Papa Raptor Music here. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. And who else do we have? We were all quoting, we were all quoting Queen lyrics, which was hilarious at the start there. We got Rich Cresswell. We got Keith from I nearly said Radio Truck Trumpet. That would be bad. It's Radio Tuck Trumpet. And we've got Tony Cardona, and who else do we have? We got Bobby Booth, we got Sean Aaron, we got Dave from New York as well. Tony says, will you indulge me? No! I have the following chord changes and like to hear how you would play it. Just an idea for a song. So C major 7 flat 5, B major, F sharp minor, B7, F sharp minor, A minor, and G. All right. Okay. I will play these chords. I have no idea the tempo or anything like that or the style you want me to play it in, but I will certainly play these chords. All right. So we got C major 7 flat 5. Which is one of my favorite chords. You can call it C major 7 flat 5, or you can call it C major 7 sharp 11, depending upon your outlook in life, whether you prefer sharp or flat. So yes, that's a good start. I like that. And then you're going to B major 7, then you go into F sharp minor. Oh, that's nice. Then B7 again, then F sharp minor, and then A minor. Okay. Oh, that's nice. And then G. Okay, that's kind of a little weak. Unless you're going back to C major again. In which case that kind of works if that's like a passing 6-5. In which case that might work. Yeah, that kind of works. If you make that G into a G7, that would work. Make that into a G6. Yeah, and then you could loop that. So that works quite nicely. And then where do we go? F sharp minor. Yeah, you'd have to make that last chord 2 bars long because otherwise it's not quite even. Kind of threatening to go to E major here, but we're not. Interrupted cadence to A minor and then G. Yeah, I kind of like that. It's kind of a little bit mysterious because it never really settles. It's kind of nice. And it's got lots of nice little chromatic things that are going on there. So if you were improvising on those changes, you'd have to be careful about your accidentals to make sure that you're using like proper leading tones and things going in between the chords there. Otherwise, you could easily trip yourself up. But yes, nice changes. I like that, Tony. Rich Cresswell says, we will shortly need to start thinking about Halloween Challenge 2025. Wonder what folks would like to do. Yes, we are getting to that point. Because we would need to start that probably in September, working towards the end of October for the Halloween challenge. Yes. We will discuss, but folks, if you have some suggestions for what you would like to do, then you can certainly email some of those suggestions either to Rich or to me, and we will take a look at all of your suggestions, like scale, style, stuff like that. Broadly speaking, for our Halloween challenges, we've kind of left the style and the genre kind of up to you because, we know that everybody works in a different genre. Not everybody is a jazz guy like me. Not everybody is a EDM person. Not everybody's a rock person. Not everybody's an indie person. Not everybody's a classical person or an orchestral person. So we kind of tend to leave the genre kind of up to you guys. And the style up to you guys, as well as the form and the arrangement very much up to you folks. And we have tended to say, hey, maybe use a particular mode, which is what we've done the last several times. And they've been quite fruitful, actually, with a different mode. So maybe we could do a different mode again, one that we've not done, especially in light of what I just talked about at the start of the show about harmonic and melodic minor modes. We could maybe dive into one of those because there are some exotic ones there. Or we could basically say, you can use either the whole tone scale or the diminished whole tone scale, because both of those scales are, to use a really, really technical term, freaky as shit and spooky as well, particularly the whole tone scale. Whole tone scale is very, very unsettling, because it never resolves. And there's only 2 whole tone scales. Well, there's more than 2, but really, for all intents and purposes, there are only really 2 because of the way they're designed. So there's the one that's built on C major, or on the key center of C, I should say, because it's not major, where you have C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. It's all intervals of one tone or one whole step. And it never ever settles, which is why it gets used a lot in film music, particularly if the scene is unsettling or unresolved, or is a sort of transition to a dreamlike state or a dreamlike sequence or something like that. It's quite unsettling. There is a variation of the whole tone scale, which is called the diminished whole tone scale. So what do we do with this one? Well, the top half is exactly the same. So those notes there are exactly the same. However, you flatten the second and you flatten the third, as well as having a flattened 4 as well. So it's just as unsettling, if not a little bit more unsettling, because you have a flat 2, and then a flat 3, a flat 4, and then you have the flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. The diminished whole tone scale, I always think in terms of flattened notes rather than sharp notes. Why? Because it's an awkward scale if you think of it in terms of sharps, because it starts to not make sense. So if I think of it in terms of sharps, then you get C, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. It gets a little awkward. But you can think of it in terms of sharps if you want. C, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and octave. I've written pieces of music based entirely in this scale. I did it for a student film that I did maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, where the whole thing was basically the whole film. It's like a 15-minute short film. And the entire film is based around the idea of being in that state where you are somewhere between asleep, like proper deep sleep, and wakefulness. And that weird place of being in between the dream world and reality, and the two kind of, fuse together in some weird way. And so that was basically the entire theme of the film. So I did the entire film score just using the diminished whole tone scale for the entire, for the everything. I basically treated it as a mode, and I developed chords, melody, and everything else just entirely out of that scale. And it was a great fun little student film to be involved in. Student films is something I do a lot of, and I don't charge students for student films at all. It involves a fair amount of work, but I do it because I enjoy doing it, and I want to give these students a good shot and a good chance of being able to do something really, really well. So I do it for free for the students, and I coordinate with the film course at the Film Studies Department at Edinburgh University, and the Film Studies Department at Napier University in Edinburgh as well, to work with their students and work with their department to give them whatever they need. And it works out really well. It's a nice little partnership that I've had going on there for a wee while. Tony says, can we have an open Halloween contest this year, like a free-for-all? Well, the thing with doing a free-for-all is it tends to lack kind of the challenge aspect of this whole thing, which is why we've always given a particular thing that you need to have in your music. If it's just like a free-for-all, then it's going to be much harder for us, for me and Rich as the judges, to be able to assess, which one's better than another one, which one's going to be a winner. So it's much easier to assess if we have a specific set of criteria that you, the composer or the songwriter, has to meet, like a brief. And it's good for you guys because the benefit that it has for you folks is it helps you get used to the idea of writing music to fit a brief, which is something that I have to do all the time as a composer. And I also have to do that as an arranger as well. So, people will come to me with actually finished composed works that I then have to arrange for a particular ensemble or something like that. So, but I have, as an arranger, I get a brief. They want it to have a particular vibe about it. So, to take an example of many years ago, maybe about 20 years ago, I was working with this brilliant singer-songwriter called Samantha. She was fantastic. She's a really, really great artist. And it was a real joy to work with her. And she wanted big band arrangements for some of her songs, but she also wanted some orchestral arrangements for other songs on her album. And she didn't know how to do any of that stuff. So she had specific sounds in mind. She was like, I want it to sound a little bit like, Mood Indigo, Duke Ellington, or I want it to sound, this one I want to sound a little bit more, Billy Strayhorn. So she had specific ideas for the big band aspect of what she wanted. And then for orchestral, she was just like, I want this to sound like Ralph Vaughan Williams. Now, I'm a big Ralph Vaughan Williams fan. I love his music, but his music's really complex. So I basically had to just get the gist of Vaughan Williams's music and then try and kind of stylistically make her songs kind of fit into that kind of mold. And so that's what I do as an arranger. I have a brief to fulfill. And so as a composer, I do as well. Rich says here, the purpose is to discover new scales and modes, to expand your knowledge and create something you would never have normally done, to engage your creative self. There are two parts of which you can choose either or. You can write a song or you can mix a song created by Rich. Yes, and that's basically the format for our challenges for the last several that we've done. And I really, at this point, want to say a massive, humongous thank you to Rich Cresswell for his partnership in these challenges over the last 2 or 3 years. I think this is like 3 years, might even be 4 years now. Can't remember, lost count of challenges that he and I have done together for Halloween and Christmas. It's been a fantastic partnership, Rich. I really do thank you very, very much. It's been of really great value to this community, and it's awesome, your contribution that you make. So thank you very, very much for being willing to partner with me, work with me, and it's been great working with you as well to put these things together and make them happen. To give people the chance to learn and put into practice the stuff that we talk about on Sundays and Wednesdays. Because really that's what it's all about. Fundamentally, that's what the songwriting challenges are all about. It's all about putting into practice the stuff that I talk about and the questions that I answer and the things that I show and the things that I demonstrate on these shows as well. So yeah, I hope these challenges are actually a really benefit to you. And really, it's not about the prizes, okay? Let me just get that out there. Prizes are great. Obviously, everybody loves getting free gear or a free subscription or a free something. We all love that. The idea of winning something and getting something for free is great. We all like that. And I like doing it. However, really, the idea behind these challenges, these contests, is to give you an opportunity to expand your knowledge and to put into practice stuff that we talk about here. In a way that you otherwise would not ordinarily have. So, a deadline and a brief, and a set of things that you need, a set of ingredients that we provide for you that you need to have in your work. Really, the actual thing that I think is the most important thing about these challenges is actually doing the challenge and actually getting your work out there. Whether it's just within a small enclosed private workspace like we have had the last couple of years, or whether that means you actually go the next step and you publish your work to the public to somewhere like SoundCloud, or maybe you choose to do both. I think this is important because the whole point of writing songs, there are two aspects to it. Number one, I write songs because it's a form of expression. I want to express myself. I want to get these stories that I have in my heart, in my mind, in my soul. I want to get these things out there. And I want to express these stories. I want to give these characters that I have in my head, I want to put flesh and bones on them and put them out there for other people to enjoy and discover. So there's that aspect of it. It's for me. I do it for me. I do it for my own pleasure. But I also do it because I'm a creative artist and I want people to enjoy what I put out there, to actually listen to it and enjoy it. So it serves a symbiotic purpose. So I do it for me. I also do it for you guys because I want you to enjoy the work that I put out there. And so that's the thing that I want to help this community develop, is this idea of I make music and I put it out there for people to hear, not just for me to hear in the privacy of my own studio. That's fine. That's great. That's all well and good. Listen to your own works and enjoy what you come up with. But put it out there. Take that risk. Put it out there for other people to hear. You don't have to say, hey, please give me a critique. We're not putting it out there for that necessarily. I mean, if you want that, if you invite that, then that's great. But you don't have to. You just put the work out there and just let people enjoy it for what it is. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be, a polished production even. It just needs to be a finished song. Doesn't have to be fully mixed, fully mastered. It doesn't have to be any of that stuff. It doesn't have to sound like it's come out of Abbey Road Studios or Air Studios or any of the big studios around the world. It doesn't have to sound like that. That's not what we're aiming for. What we're aiming for is to put out our work at the ability and skill level that we are at now. So that's the purpose. That's the idea. And as Rich says here, he says, we also get to discuss the scales and modes before kicking off, and I do a video for the workspace explaining tips and ideas for you to explore, and they have got better and better every year. And absolutely they have. Absolutely. The standard of creativity every year has got higher and higher and higher, and it has become harder and harder and harder for me and Rich to find a winner. So, that's all there is to it, really. And yeah, as Rich says, we're not just going to throw a brief up and say, go do it. We're going to explain the brief. We're going to explain the scales and the modes, and I'm going to demonstrate them. I'm going to teach them on this show. And Rich is going to provide examples of how to use the scale in a practical musical setting. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do mine live. Rich is going to do his in a video. I'm going to do mine live in front of you. Because I'm a crazy lunatic Scotsman. And that's just the way I work. I kind of do crazy shit in front of you guys. So that's what I'm going to do. JW says, that's right. Since I listened to Jonny and Rich, I published the EP. See, exactly. That's exactly it. JW is an extremely fine example. And please, somebody drop a link to JW's EP so that everybody can go check this out, because I think it's absolutely fecking fabulous. But yeah, what JW did was he basically listened to the things that me and Rich on our respective channels, in our respective spaces, have talked about, and then he bit the bullet, took the plunge, to use two brilliant metaphors, and put out an EP. And I could not be prouder of JW for what he's done. I really could not be prouder of what he's done. It's fantastic that he not only wrote a bunch of songs, but he actually went the whole way to, to mix it, master it, and put it together as an EP and get it out there for public consumption, for people to listen to. That's the name of the game, folks. I'm not suggesting that everybody should be putting EPs out and doing that all the time. You don't have to. But what I am saying is JW basically put into practice what we talk about. And the evidence of that is his EP. And I think, even if all you put out is one song up onto SoundCloud, or one song into into Bandcamp or something like that, or anything like that, just putting something out there, an example of your music for us to enjoy, for us to listen to. Just Bob says, listening real quick before I drive home, it's also a chance for our community to hear each other's ideas and learn. 100%. 100%. We can all teach each other something new here. It's not just about me and what I teach you guys. Really, when Jonny Guy and I put Songwriting Simplified together, because this show really is an extension of what he did, and what he and I did together, what he and I did together was lay down the foundation, the framework for what we're doing now, which was we talked about different aspects of songwriting. We took songwriting apart, we took the different elements apart, and we talked about them, and we discussed, and I answered a lot of Jonny's questions that he had, and we talked about different aspects of the music production process by which you can get your music put together. And we did all of that on the show that he and I did together, which is basically just us talking. Us having a chat about songwriting and our different approaches, because he has a different approach than I have a different approach than he does. And the key thing is he puts his music out publicly. I do the same too. Everything that I have done for the songwriting challenges that we've done from this show, I have put out on SoundCloud. So you'll find the last thing I did, the last Halloween thing I did was Bagpipe Murder. And then the one before that was Souffrere. And of course, I did for Christmas, we did the carol arrangement, and I did Carol of the Bells for that, which put my arranging skills up on display. And so I'll be doing that again for this Halloween challenge, whatever scale we choose. And the criteria, I will be doing exactly the same. I will be making a piece of music and I'll be putting that up on SoundCloud so that everybody gets to hear it. Keith says, no way I would have put an album out without you lot. See, there's another example right there. Keith has recently put out an entire album of songs. It's a concept album, which I think, to be honest, is incredibly brave of Keith to do, because concept albums are complicated. Because you're telling a story, or you're telling a collection of related stories across the course of an entire album of several songs. That's a big, big challenge. And he did it. And that's also out for public consumption as well. So I highly recommend that even if you don't put out an album, even if you don't put out an EP, just, for this challenge, actually get it not just into the workspace, but take that extra bold, courageous step of putting it out in public somewhere. So we've got some real life examples here of people in our community who had never put an album out before, never put an EP out before, and they've gone and done that because of what we have taught here. And this community, and all the ways in which this community inspires and encourages everybody. So, this is not something you do on your own. This is something that we do together. And as Ron says here, if you put it up on Bandcamp, it's a good way to make a little bit of money as well, because you can sell your stuff. I have done that. I do have a Bandcamp. It's a bit defunct at the moment. Mostly because for some weird reason I don't have access to it anymore. I don't know why. I tried to log into it just the other week and it wouldn't let me log in. So now I don't do that anymore. Because I don't actually, I'm at that point in my career now where I don't really want to sell my music. I want to give my music away. And that's why I put it up on SoundCloud, so that people can actually just listen to it for free. I don't want to sell it. I want people to be able to go and listen to it for free and enjoy it. And all I ask is that people hit a like button on each of the songs and leaves a comment. Tell me what you think. Do you like it? Do you not like it? If you don't like it, I don't care. If you leave a comment that says, no, this is crap, that's okay. That's your opinion. I welcome your opinion, whether you don't like it or you do like it. Make a wee comment. And some people have from this community. I know Chris Rackner has been on my SoundCloud and has listened to some of my stuff, and he's made some very nice comments. So yeah, please do go check out my SoundCloud. I would appreciate it. I can link to it if you want. If you really want it, I can definitely link you to it. And then you've got that link. Let me go find all of that stuff. So that you guys can go take a listen. Oh, you're not going to let me do that. Oh, balls. I know why. I know why you won't let me do it. Because I'm actually copying the link from Facebook, which is not the way you do it. So let me click that link there. And that takes me to the real link, which I can now copy paste. I hate the way it does that. There we go. Rich says, I would enjoy a cover song of The Candle in the Wind. Candle in the Wind in Scots. Passion in the Wind. It's got to be sung by somebody with a really strong Glasgow accent, which of course I don't have. I have a much softer East Coast accent when I'm speaking the King's English. I speak it with a nice Southeast Coast Scottish accent. But yeah, my first language is Scots, actually. And yes, I could do it in Scots. But most of you wouldn't understand it if I did. So, but yeah, I could do it in a kind of Scottish accent, that's for sure. It could be done. And I probably would not get a copyright strike either, because they probably wouldn't understand the words. That could be an interesting experiment. Maybe I should try that. Maybe I should try a whole bunch of pop songs in a Scottish accent, in a real, as broad and as thick as possible Scottish accent, and see if I get copyright strikes. Maybe I should just do that. That could be quite fun. And see if the copyright algorithms in YouTube just go, what? What? I would love to be able to confuse the YouTube algorithms. That would be great. All right, we got 15 minutes left. Stephen Wilson says, I'm of the same mindset when as you, it comes to selling my music. I just post songs on SoundCloud. Yes. SoundCloud's a great place. I have friends that post their music up on Spotify, because again, you can monetize that on Spotify, but I'm just like, you have to have like 9, 10, 12, maybe even 15 million listens on Spotify in order to get like 50p or 50 cents. So no, don't put your music up on Spotify. It's not worth it. If you want to monetize your music, the best way to do it is on Bandcamp. I cannot recommend Bandcamp enough, because yes, they do take a certain cut from your sales, but actually it's probably one of the more generous arrangements that they have, where the artist gains the most. Yeah, it's got to include all the swearing as well. Yeah, totally. Rich says Spotify is dead. Only post teaser tracks of your efforts will not be rewarded. Yes, exactly. If you're gonna like do a little wee EPK, a little teaser of your song, or a little preview of your single, yeah, Spotify's a place that you could do that, because monetizing there is just not worth it. But yeah, if you want to sell your music, do it on Bandcamp. Don't do it on Reverb Nation. I have had Reverb Nation. It's one of the first places I tried selling my music in the early days of my now no longer in existence record company. We did a lot of the stuff that we did through Reverb Nation. No. Not a good idea. Reverb Nation's not a great place to be. So you'll find that I still have a presence on Reverb Nation, but I don't use it. I don't look at it anymore. I don't visit it. So if you go and leave a comment on the songs that are up there, I'm not going to see it, to be honest. And there's some very, very, very old shit of mine on there. Some of the songs are not that great. They're just a bit crap, to be honest. Uh, but yeah, Reverb Nation was a thing. Not really anymore. It's like MySpace. MySpace was a thing. It was like the place. And then Facebook came along and kind of stole MySpace's thunder. And it's kind of been a little bit like that with Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation was good at one point, and actually it had a really nice, like, fully integrated sales a sales experience where it's actually very easy for you to sell your music. And then they started doing some somewhat nefarious things. I think they're nefarious, so I'm going to call them allegedly nefarious things for, I want to avoid being sued. They started doing some allegedly nefarious things where they changed basically the cut that they take from your revenues, and it was not in a good way. Not in a good way. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to use them anymore. YouTube is still a superb place to advertise your music, and you as an artist. Yes, it definitely is. I have a music video at the moment. I think it's my only music video that is on this channel, which you will find on this channel. You can go check it out after the show is finished. Maybe one of my moderators will find it and put a link to it in the chat here. It's called what's it called? It's called Flying High. I think that's what I called it. I can't actually remember what I called it, but it's one of the songs off my it's called Flying High. It's off my Belonging to Tomorrow EP that I put out like 8 years ago or so. But I made a music video for it. But it's exactly the same mix as the one that's on SoundCloud. So if you want to check that out, watch that video. It's quite interesting. There's some interesting visuals in it that go with the story. So yeah, you can go and let me see. Shall I see if I can find the darn thing? Let me see if I can find it. No, I don't want to do what I just did. Let me go to this button here, and I'm going to see if I can find it. I put this out a long time ago. Like I said, probably about 8 or so years ago, and I'm just going to go and try and find it. Where are you? I could probably just search for it, it'd be quicker. Nope, that didn't work. Oh, I know why it didn't work. Yeah, I have found it. Let me copy link address. There we go. Go back to the stream. I'm going to post that here. All right, so you guys can absolutely, by all means, watch this music video after the show. Tony says, the above link discusses everything from Spotify to YouTube. What above link? Yeah, you're not a moderator, so you can't post links, unfortunately, Tony. Kara is the independent artist who was screwed over with these distribution services and Spotify. Okay, right, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, you won't be able to post a link. Sorry about that. YouTube is highly recommended. Open Spotify only on streaming service. Yeah, if the thing you have to remember with streaming services is you have to remember what they're there for and the best way to use them. Personally, I think the best way to use streaming services is consider it a fishing net. So let's say you have a whole album like Keith's album, let's say. He has a whole album which he has on some kind of shop site, for example. Let's say he has this all up on Bandcamp. The way he can use streaming services is to provide little teasers or little short, like 1 or 2 minute music videos of his songs with a link in the end card of the video to where the song is available for sale, or where his album is available for sale. So people get like a little snapshot of what this song is like, what this album is like, and you use it as a fishing net to draw people to the place where you are selling your music with the best kind of ratio of what you take home to what the platform gets as well in their cut. Because, you know, even with a large record label, you know, a major record label like BMG or whatever, they will take a cut of your sales. That always happens wherever you publish your works. Whether you publish them yourself, if you own the publishing company, obviously you get 100% of it. But if you have like a publishing deal with a publisher, they're going to take a cut. And so you're not going to get the 100%. And of course, streaming services, in order to continue to operate, they need to take a cut as well. So you've got to be prepared to let go of a certain percentage of your sales. You've got to be, you know, for every dollar, you've got to be prepared to let go of, you know, 10, 15%. So that the platform upon which you have your music is able to continue to be that platform. Yeah, use streaming services for a third of your songs. Point them to your website for merch, full album, and Bandcamp if you don't have a site. Yes, absolutely. JW says, can't post the link. Okay, if one of my moderators has a link to JW's EP, please post it in the chat so that everybody can go grab it before the show ends. So there's a couple of things for you guys to look at there. There's the article on Wikipedia on modes and scales and stuff like that. So if you want to read that, get yourself familiar with some different scales that you may want to adopt and use, and you can listen to the different examples, see what they sound like. There's that. There's also my music video for the Flying High song, if you want to go check that out. That is there, and it's available for you to listen to and watch the video. Video is actually pretty cool. There's some good little visuals there that go with the video, that go with the song, that help tell the story of the song. And then, of course, hopefully we'll get a link to JW's EP, and maybe we'll get a link to Keith's album as well. And that way everybody can have a listen to both of those. I would like links to both of those. If somebody can find those and post those, that would be great. Tony says, didn't realize you couldn't post what I posted. That's okay. It's not a problem. Only moderators and people with the wee purple wrench can, they are the only people that can post links apart from me. I can post links because it's my channel. But yeah, my moderators can do that, and usually they're pretty good at posting links to stuff. All right, we've got 5 minutes left. I'm going to take a wee drink of my tea, because it's getting awfully hot in here, actually, again. And I'm just looking at the... Yeah, Keith, you're not going to be able to post the link, dude, because you can't post the link. So, send me the link, Keith, and then I'll post it, okay? Because you don't have the ability to post links because you're not a purple wrench person. And actually, to be honest, I think I've reached the maximum number of purple wrench people that I can have on my channel. So yeah, you're going to have to send me the link somehow, either via Facebook, or you can send it to me via email, one or the other. Okay, he sent it me via There we go. I can copy that there. I can go back over here. All right, so there is the link to Keith's record, which is up on Bandcamp. So if you like what you hear, buy the fucking thing. Excuse my language, but yeah. If you like it, buy it, please. It will do him the world of good. And I'm sure he would appreciate it as well. All right, I'm just waiting on JW's EP link, and then we can post that. Yeah, JW, post your link somewhere like our little chat group that me and Billy and some of the others are all in, and then I'll grab it from there. I'm actually going to go up that chat group and see if I can find it myself, but there's been a lot of chat and I don't know where it is. Yeah, I'm not finding it. It's probably a way back. JW, post your link so that I can post it here in this show so that people can go get it. I'm trying to find it. I don't know where it is. Oh, okay. That is... That's cool. Rich, I love that, mate. I love that. For every person that enters the Halloween and Christmas challenge, Rich will buy an album of their music on whatever platform they sell on. All right, so if you have an album or an EP or single songs that are available for sale on Bandcamp or wherever your platform is where you're selling your songs rather, Rich will buy them. So if you enter either of these challenges, Rich will buy your music. I think that's awesome. Keith says, I hope to raise enough to get my vestigial tail removed. Okay. That's okay, that's a cool target to aim for. Yeah. Yeah, JW, post me that link, man, in our chat group, and then I can post it in the show so that everybody's got a chance to go get it. Oh, Rich has found it. Well done, Rich. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, 3 things for you to do after the show. Number 1, get JW's album. Number 2, get Keith's album. Number 3, watch my Flying High video. Number 4, read that Wikipedia article. If you want to learn some extra scales and some extra modes that you might find useful. Rich says, I just bought it, just needed to sign in. There you go. So you got a sale already. Awesome. That's awesome. That is freaking awesome. Tony says, lol, selling your shit. Yeah, I know, that just kind of slipped out. Sorry about that. Mind you, I dropped an F-bomb and I don't normally do that unless it's like the Halloween, unless it's the Hogmanay show. Then yes, by the time we get to my show on Hogmanay, I am already a wee bit blutered. And so being a wee bit blutered, I think that kind of gives me a wee bit of license to be a wee bit, typically Scottish and sweary. But yeah, I kind of did let that go. But I think actually the F-bomb was dropped with good reason. All right, so final thing to remind you all about. The UK Studio One meetup is on Friday at 8 p.m. UK time. That is going to be 2 o'clock or something like that in the afternoon in the United States. So it's either going to be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, depending upon where you are in the United States. If you are in Central Europe, it's going to be 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. if you are in Eastern Europe. If you're in South Africa, it's going to be 11 p.m. If you are in Australia or New Zealand, it's going to be at least somewhere between 6 a.m. or 9 a.m., depending upon where you are in either Australia or New Zealand. Those are the time zones I have memorized. I haven't memorized all of them yet, but, the Earth does rotate at 15 degrees per hour, so you can calculate time zones by that method. And so that's kind of how I do it. All right, so we are at the end of the show, folks. And Billy's just dropped in a link to the meetup. So if you want to join me then, and you've got Studio One questions that you want to ask, or you want to talk about things you want to see in Studio One in the future, then that's the place to be. And I'm hosting it, so I will be drinking beer. If you are into beer or wine or gin or whatever alcoholic beverage is your choice, join me and we can talk Studio One and music production and have a blast. And that does tend to go late in the night. Normally, I know it says on the page it's a 2-hour thing. No, I let it run way, way, way past that. My meetup still, to this day, holds the record for the longest Studio One meetup, where it lasted 11 and a half hours. I don't necessarily think I will be wanting to break that record anytime soon, but 'tis possible. Maybe. If we get a lot of people, and a lot of people want to stay around, then we could maybe see about breaking that record. Rich has a Lander, or L&R. That's apparently what it's supposed to be called. L&R, not Lander. L&R music session. If you guys want to go over there and continue to talk about Halloween or the Christmas, if you're a real sadist. It's August. I am involved in Christmas music already. I have to say, this is the weird thing about, kind of this time of year, August, September. I'm starting to work on arrangements for Christmas material for my church, and also for a couple of other Christmas projects that I'm working on already. I'm working on big band arrangements and stuff like that. We're doing all sorts of classic Christmas stuff, big band style. So yeah, I'm already working on Christmas stuff. Maybe that makes me a sadist that we're doing that now, but we're doing that now so that by the time we get to Christmas, all of that stuff is ready to go and is out the door. Anyway, we'll end the show there. It's 1:05 in the morning here. Have a great rest of your evening. And I will see you back here on Friday on the Fender Zoom call for the Studio One meetup. And then after that, we'll be back here on this channel again for Sunday Night Live for more Studio One talk. All right, folks, I'll see you then. Good night.